In November 2023, a chilling incident shook the nation of Kazakhstan. Bimv, the former Minister of National Economy, committed a heinous act against his wife, Saltanat Nukan Noe. What ensued was a desperate attempt to conceal his atrocities and spin the tragic event as a mere accident. This was no ordinary crime. It captured the attention of millions, both in Kazakhstan and around the globe. With the victims' relatives demanding transparency, the stage was set for a trial that would unravel the darkest corners of human nature. To truly comprehend the depths of this tragedy, one must delve into the intricate history of the couple. Bimv, born on April 11, 1980, hailed from a prominent family in Gil-Lorda, Kazakhstan. The son of a deputy in the Milis of the parliament, his upbringing was one of privilege and expectation. His mother, Al-Nurli Bova, herself an entrepreneur, stood by his side through thick and thin, even acting as his defender during his previous brush with the law. Raised alongside his younger sister, Arujan, Bimv pursued academic excellence, earning 3 higher educations and even obtaining a prestigious scholarship to George Washington University in the United States. Little is known about Saltanat Nukan Noe's early years, but her presence in Bimv's life was undeniable. As his spouse, she stood by him through triumphs and tribulations until fate intervened in the cruelest manner.
April 9th, another hearing is underway in the case against the former Minister of Economy of Kazakhstan, Kuyandyk Bishimbayev. According to the investigation, he is accused of killing his civil wife, Saltanat Nukanova. Bishimbayev denies guilt for intentional murder.
У меня не было смысла, задумки, умысла совершать такой бессмысленный акт. Я любил Салтанат.
Last year, on the night of November 9th, Bishimbayev and his wife had an argument in a restaurant, after which he severely assaulted her. He then left Saltanat to die. She lay on the floor of the VIP booth for 6 to 8 hours before death occurred. This is the account of the events that transpired as outlined by the investigation. Forensic examination confirmed numerous injuries on her body.
Закрытая черепно-мозговая травма, множественные ссадины, кровоподтеки лица, кровоизлияние под мягкую мозговую оболочку правой затылочной доли мозжечка справа, воролиева моста справа, отек и набухание вещества головного мозга.
Before encountering his tragic fate, Bimv had a tumultuous personal life. He entered into 2 official marriages prior to meeting his eventual victim. His first wife, Igaram Rova, wed in 1999 while he was still a student. Their union produced a son named Alexander Valikon in 2000, but dissolved in 2004. In 2006, as an advisor to the Minister of Economy and Budget Planning of Kazakhstan, he married his second wife, Nazim Karman Babagalova. This marriage lasted 14 years and bore 3 children before ending in divorce in 2020 at the behest of Saltanat Nukan Noe, the woman who would become his third wife. Saltanat Nukan Noe, born on May 15, 1992, in Pavlodar, Kazakhstan, was the youngest of 2 children born to businessman Aman Geldinanov and economist Juma Gul. Her paternal uncle, Kirat Nanov, enjoyed a successful political career, heading the regional department of entrepreneurship and trade. As a schoolgirl, Saltanat developed a keen interest in astrology, crafting accurate predictions that garnered attention from friends and classmates. Transitioning her hobby into a profession, she leveraged social media to promote her astrological services, gaining financial independence and a sizable following.
Kazakhstan's former economy minister has been sentenced to 24 years in prison for murdering his wife. The widely watched trial, broadcast live over 7 weeks, was seen by some as a litmus test for the president's promise to strengthen women's rights. 44-year-old Kuyandyk Bishimbayev was found guilty of torture and murder by the court.
Notably, Saltanat's clientele consisted exclusively of women and girls, drawn to her insightful consultations and accurate forecasts. Her expertise extended beyond astrology, offering guidance on love, career, and spiritual development. She lived a life of fulfillment and prosperity. Her consultations booked months in advance, her social media presence thriving. In the spring of 2022, Fate intertwined their paths when Bim stumbled upon Nukin Inoue social media page. Enamored by her beauty, he sought her out for an astrological consultation. However, his advances were rebuffed, signaling the beginning of a tragic chain of events. Kei Kwand managed to find a way into Sultanat's life through her family, expressing a desire to speak to her grandmother and seek her blessing for their relationship.
Kanova's brother spoke after the verdict.
This prison term was one of the options we expected. Generally, we stop here. This term is enough. In 24 years, he will be 68. It's basically a life sentence.
The trial has been widely regarded as an attempt by authorities to send a message that members of the elite are no longer above the law.
While Sultanat was touched by this gesture, she still refused to enter a relationship with the politician. In an unexpected turn of events, an autumn wedding in 2022 took place. Sultanat visited her parents in Pavlodar, expressing to her brother that she didn't foresee any significant changes in her personal life. She confided her concerns about the significant age difference and lack of attraction to Bimv as a man, supported by her astrological calculations indicating their incompatibility. However, less than a month later, the news of her engagement to Bimv shocked everyone. It was a complete surprise to her family and friends, as she had recently expressed to them that he was not the one for her and that nothing serious would develop between them. Despite her initial reservations, Sultanat found herself swept up in a whirlwind of events leading to the engagement. It seemed that fate had other plans, orchestrating a series of events that challenged her convictions and tested her resolve. Her family, initially taken aback by the sudden turn of events, eventually rallied around her, offering their support despite their earlier concerns.
Bishimbayev is 43 years old. In 2016, he held the position of Minister of National Economy of Kazakhstan for 7 months. He has previously been convicted. In 2018, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for bribery. However, a year later, President of Kazakhstan Nursultan Nazarbayev pardoned Bishimbayev.
Nazarbayev's favorite pupil, whom he praised continuously and spoke of what a wonderful boy he was.
Бишимбаев очень жалко мне, честно говоря. Обучали. Столько тратим времени, денег, средств на подготовку людей.
Sultanat was 31 years old. She was an astrologer. She met Bishimbayev on Instagram.
She was always full of life. You could tell from all the photos and videos that exist, that have been preserved, that people share. Very kind and fair, those were probably her most important qualities. She had a strong sense of justice always and in everything. She wasn't afraid to stand up for truth and justice, so I suppose I'm drawing inspiration from her in certain ways now.
Salta's relatives have shared that she confided in them about Bishimbayev's abuse. Her brother presented photos in court that she had sent him.
I received these 2 photos clearly showing bruises from beatings, and in my personal opinion, they depict multiple deliberate punches to the face. She told me he was constantly controlling her, not letting her go anywhere, work, or do anything for herself. He banned her from using Instagram and everything else. She wanted to leave.
The case sparked public outcry. Back in November, after Sultanat's murder, a rally against domestic violence was held in Almaty.
Currently, there are 2 main topics. Firstly, the flutes, and secondly, the court case. Without a doubt, it's even that everyone is discussing, and if you go, for instance, on TikTok, practically every video is about this court case.
The wedding itself was a lavish affair, attended by prominent figures and socialites who marveled at the union. Sultanat, adorned in traditional attire that reflected her cultural heritage, exuded an air of grace and composure despite lingering doubts. Her decision to proceed with the marriage remained a topic of speculation among those who knew her well, prompting whispers and conjecture about her motives and true feelings. As the months passed, Sultanat endeavored to adapt to her new role as Bim's wife, navigating the complexities of their relationship with a sense of duty and determination. Her professional commitments as an astrologer continued unabated, though her personal life now bore the weight of unexpected scrutiny and expectation. Through it all, Sultanat remained steadfast in her belief in destiny and the power of choice. She continued to offer guidance to her clients, drawing upon her intuition and wisdom to navigate the challenges they faced in their own lives. Her journey, marked by twists of fate and unforeseen turns, served as a testament to resilience and the unpredictable nature of love and life itself.
The case has helped rally public support behind a law criminalizing domestic violence, which Parliament passed last month. Government data shows that 1 in 6 women in Kazakhstan has experienced violence by a male partner.
In December 2022, just a few months after they met, the couple had a big wedding. They didn't officially sign papers, but they had a special ceremony in a mosque. At first, Sultanat thought her husband was great. She told her friends he was smart and kind. She even said he didn't do the bad things people said he did. But after they got married, things changed drastically for Sultanat. They moved in with his parents, and tensions escalated quickly. During a family gathering, her husband's explosive anger manifested when he flipped over a table in a fit of rage, shocking Sultanat's brother and raising serious concerns about her safety. The situation deteriorated further as Sultanat began to suffer physical abuse at the hands of her husband. Desperate and frightened, she reached out to her brother, sending him distressing photos showing bruises on her face. Her pleas for help were met with her husband's dismissive attitude, refusing to provide any explanation and demanding others stay out of their affairs. Despite the abuse, Sultanat found herself trapped in a cycle of hope and despair, repeatedly returning to her husband in the futile belief that he would change. Instead, his control over her intensified, dictating every aspect of her life, including whom she could interact with and isolating her from friends and work.
Now in Kazakhstan, former economy minister has been charged with beating his wife to death. With the case garnering public attention, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev is being put to test over his promise of building a fairer society for women. Here's a report.
In a trial that has gripped Kazakhstan, former economy minister Kwandyk Bishimbayev is accused of beating his wife to death. As the case is broadcast online, it's seen by some as a litmus test of President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev's promise to build a fairer society.
Even as she endured unimaginable suffering, Sultanat maintained a facade of normalcy on social media, concealing the harrowing reality of her marriage from the outside world. She withdrew from her social circle and abandoned her career, all while feeling increasingly isolated and helpless. On November 5th, Sultanat informed her family about a gathering at a restaurant owned by her husband's cousin. Despite previous turmoil, her husband publicly displayed affection and reassured everyone of their renewed bond, leading friends and family to believe in their reconciliation. Little did they know, tragedy loomed just days away. November 9th brought devastating news to Sultanat's family. Her brother received a chilling call, confirming rumors that the former Minister of Economy had taken Sultanat's life. Despite her intentions to leave her husband, Sultanat never returned home after the gathering. Fearing the worst, her brother hurriedly searched for her. At the restaurant where they had last spoken, police delivered the heartbreaking confirmation that Sultanat had passed away before help could arrive. Her husband, K. Kwand, was swiftly arrested as the primary suspect, claiming her death was accidental.
To Kazakhstan next, where the country's former economy minister, Kwandyk Bishimbayev, was sentenced to 24 years in prison on Monday for the torture and murder of his wife. 44-year-old Bishimbayev was found guilty following a 7-week trial, which included key CCTV video evidence. Footage showed him repeatedly kicking and punching his 31-year-old wife, Sultanat Nukanova, before she was dragged by her hair into a room where she later died. Additional videos from Bishimbayev's phone included him humiliating his bruised and bloodied wife. Days after her death, relatives launched an online anti-domestic violence petition to pass Sultanat's law, which quickly garnered over 150,000 signatures and passed parliament in April. Bishimbayev was sentenced to 10 years for bribery in 2018, but served less than 3 years.
However, his brother, also implicated, vehemently denied any involvement. Sultanat's tragic story serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of domestic abuse and the complexities faced by victims trying to break free from abusive relationships. Her untimely death underscores the critical need for awareness, support, and intervention to protect those vulnerable to such violence. In her memory, her family and community continue to seek justice and advocate for greater measures to prevent such devastating losses in the future. Evidence from restored video footage shocked investigators, revealing crucial details contradicting Kay Kwan's claims.
To Kazakhstan now, where a CCTV video has led to uproar across the nation. It shows a former minister beating his wife to death. The assault went on for 8 hours. He's currently on trial for his wife's murder. But it's not just any other trial. This high-profile case has changed the way Kazakhstan looks at domestic violence. It has led to solidarity among women, more police vigilance, and new laws against domestic abuse. But will it change the way the Kazakh society deals with violence against women?
Forensic experts identified severe injuries on Sultanat's body, sustained hours before her death, indicating a pattern of prolonged abuse. Despite Kay Kwan's defense asserting that Sultanat's injuries were self-inflicted, forensic analysis strongly suggested otherwise, pointing to a history of physical violence inflicted by her husband. The investigation spanned 4 arduous months, during which Kay Kwan vehemently maintained his innocence despite facing charges of murder with particular cruelty. His consistent denial and attempts to minimize his involvement in Sultanat's death stood in stark contrast to mounting evidence implicating him in the tragic incident. On the evening of the fatal event in November, the couple had been out dining with friends before the situation took a devastating turn. Despite Kay Kwan's efforts to deflect blame and portray events differently, forensic evidence painted a grim reality. Sultanat's life had been brutally ended by someone she once trusted and loved. Eyewitness testimonies and video footage captured moments of escalating tension between Sultanat and her husband during a concert earlier that evening. The exact cause of their argument remained unclear, but it intensified later at a restaurant where Sultanat expressed a firm desire to leave, provoking anger in her husband.
Former Kazakh economy minister Quandak Bishimbayev is on trial in Astana, accused of murdering his 31-year-old wife, Sultanat Nukenova. She was found dead in November in a restaurant owned by his family. The coroner's report said Nukenova died from brain trauma after suffering broken bones and bruises to her face, head, and body. The testimony prompted this emotional outburst from Nukenova's grieving mother. Bishimbayev is charged with torture and murder using extreme violence. But he claims it was all an accident.
Я не признаю вину в умышленном убийстве с особой жестокостью.
The case has been followed by millions of viewers in Kazakhstan, and the unprecedented attention has sparked demands for tougher punishment for domestic violence.
She reached out to her brother for assistance, reflecting her desperation to escape the volatile situation, but was ultimately persuaded by her husband to stay. The conflict escalated behind closed doors, with Sultanat attempting to flee and her husband relentlessly pursuing her, resorting to physical violence. Disturbingly, he forced his way into the bathroom where the altercation continued, culminating tragically in Sultanat's untimely death. Sultanat's case serves as a poignant reminder of the pervasive issue of domestic violence and the profound impact it has on victims' lives. Her story underscores the critical need for effective intervention and support systems to protect individuals facing abusive relationships. As her family and community mourn her loss, they continue to seek justice and advocate for awareness to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Her husband claimed Sultanat undressed herself in anger, but evidence suggested otherwise. The abuse continued, with Sultanat enduring brutal beatings. Shockingly, he left her injured and asleep, only realizing she wasn't breathing later. Sultanat's ex-wife spoke out against him, revealing his aggressive history. Despite evidence against him, he denied guilt, blaming Sultanat for the violence. The trial, held with transparency, resulted in the defendant being found guilty and receiving a 24-year prison sentence. His brother received 4 years for aiding him. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comments section.